morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders from across the globe. Welcome to Short-Term Trading Live with Oscar. Okay, traders, this video is for Trading Tuesday, March 24th, 2009. And traders, we got a lot to talk about. There's going to be a lot of charts in this video, so you better be ready. What we will speak about is there a fundamental shift taking place in the markets? Traders, I've only done about 2 of these videos where I came out and said, hey, is there some kind of a fundamental shift taking place? And basically it was when we were at the top of the S&P and then when the dollar turned back in August of 2008. So, and during those 2 periods, traders, the Omni started flipping back and forth, flip-flop, red, green. And I said, and we did videos about this, and I said, traders, it is very uncharacteristic of the Omni to flip-flop from red to green. And in fact, that's number 3 on our list. The Omni is flip-flopping from red to green and back. Traders, when I did those videos about the Omni flip-flopping, I told you, traders, I've been using the Omni now for the better part of 27 years. It doesn't flip-flop unless there is something changing in the marketplace. Then we're going to talk about the CRB index and the Omni's proprietary moving average. Traders, there are a ton of markets right now that have just gotten above the Omni's proprietary moving average. Now on February 7th, we did a YouTube video and we held up the Commodity Research Bureau chart and we said in this chart, we see a possible run on commodities coming, maybe after the spring, coming towards the warm weather, and we will keep you informed about that. Now, the CRB is made up of sectors. You have the energy sector, the industrials, you have the meats, you have the softs, and you have the metals. Together, collectively, there are 19 markets that make up the CRB index. The CRB index is a gauge of inflation to see if there's commodity inflation, hence inflation in the marketplace. In the energies, you have crude oil, heating oil, and natural gas. They make up 17.6% of the CRB's index. Only the natural gas is below the average right now. Crude and heat are above it, and the natural gas is close. In the grains, you have wheat, corn, and soybeans. The 3 of them are in the CRB. They make up 17.6% of the CRB. In the grains, wheat is below the average, but right at it. Beans and corn, above the average, the Omni proprietary. In the industrials, you have copper and cotton. Copper way above the average now as of the last few days. Cotton very close to it, but just underneath it. In the meats, you got live cattle and live hogs. The meats are the only sector at this point that are not above the average, but close. In the softs, you have coffee, sugar, cocoa, and orange juice. They make up 23.5% of the index. Only OJ is below the average. Coffee, sugar, and cocoa are above it. Then you have the metals, gold, silver, and platinum. The 3 of them above the average. They make up 17.6%. So the meats, which only make up 11.8%, are about the only sector not above the in the CRB above the Omni average. That is extremely interesting. Then if you look further into it, the FTSE is very close to the average, just underneath it. The DAX is just underneath it. The Nikkei got above it. And the NASDAQ got above it. Traders, I am telling you, there's even more, and you'll see in a few minutes. That, to me, equates to a possible fundamental shift. I would love to become a bull. I mean, wow, let's go, right? I am so sick of wearing the bear hat. Now, I don't know that that's what we're getting yet. But I will say when Omni starts flip-flopping like it does, and then the CRB gets above the Omni average and a bunch of commodities across the board and ones that aren't even in the CRB start racing above the average. At the same time, the dollars get below the average, US dollars, and then the NASDAQ, the leader of the S&P, gets above my average all at the same time. Traders, I am telling you something is going on here. Today, or I should say Sunday night for Monday, the analysis, and traders, I've been doing analysis for my entire adult life, probably more hours logged than anyone you've ever met. The analysis on Sunday night for Monday was a dead giveaway short in the indices. Any analyst out there that uses formations and technical indicators would absolutely attest that Sunday night into Monday, the markets absolutely technically called for a short. Not did it only not go short, it stopped us out and rallied up another 20 points. Traders, it rallied with volume, it rallied with open interest, and a lot of stocks went with it. Now, speaking of something that I probably should have had time to mention over the weekend, but I didn't get a chance to give you a weekend webinar. Over this weekend, I went through about 500 stocks, all the major stocks that you can think of, bank stocks, you name it. And I will say, a good 200 to 300 of them had some sort of bottoming pattern. Bottoming pattern! Could you imagine, guys? Boy, oh boy, I hope there's something here. So I don't mind if my Omni gets stopped out a couple of times. I've seen this happen a few times over the last few years. I've seen it happen a bunch of times over the last 27 years. But whenever it does, Omni is leading to something big. So I went and did analysis on hundreds of markets, hundreds of stocks, dozens and dozens of commodity markets, and I came up with a pretty decent video that I want to show you. I have a lot of charts to show you right now, traders. These charts will talk about the fundamental shift. It'll show you, it'll illustrate the CRB index and how it's acting above the Omni proprietary moving average, and about the Omni flip-flopping from red to green. Traders, a lot of charts coming your way, so with no further ado, let's go to the charts. Okay, traders, the first chart you are looking at is the CRB Index Daily Bar Chart. This is the basket of 19 commodities considered to be inflationary or deflationary, depending upon whether the CRB is going up or down. On February 7th, we gave you a warning. We said there is a possible bull run coming on the commodities. We will keep you posted. We thought that because we started to mess around this Omni average, which we haven't seen in quite some time, as you can clearly see. Once we noticed it, we drew this wedge formation in right here and realized that we're starting to come out of a major wedge in a very bottoming looking pattern. Look what has happened since, traders. We had a monster run above the Omni average, day 1, day 2, day 3. We are 4 days now above the Omni average. That means there's got to be a lot of commodities on their way up if the CRB is making the move as we thought it would. So traders, I am here to tell you to get ready for a possible run on commodities towards the upside, and now let me show you why. This is going to be based a lot upon this Omni proprietary moving average right here. You see the CRB clearly got above it. Traders are going to rip right through these charts because there's a lot of them, so let's get this thing going. So that was CRB, right? There's a lot of charts here, baby. Let's rock and roll. Next on the block is crude oil. This is crude oil. It is the daily bar chart for May. Traders, look at the crude now above the Omni average, right? So we have the crude. I'm going to move quickly here. Next one on the block, we have a bunch coming, baby, is heating oil, another component of the CRB index. Heating oil now above the Omni average, just got above. So the energy sector looking good here. Let's continue. Next chart on the menu here should be the natural gas. Now, traders, natural gas has been in this parallel channel for quite some time and been bearish for quite some time. But look at this one-day run towards the average, and it's sitting right here right now and is starting to look bullish as with the rest of the energy sector. So you see the energy sector, part of the CRB, all of them either above or just about above the Omni average, right? There's a few more charts here that I think will illustrate this point. Another sector of the CRB index is the grains sector, as I mentioned, right? You have corn, wheat, soybeans. Corn clearly now above that average, flirted with it a few times, but clearly here has gotten above it. So let's keep moving, traders, because you'll see a lot of commodities are starting to stick its head up here. Let's show you another one. Soybeans, traders, daily bar chart, May soybeans. It flirted with the Omni average a little bit, got under it, but now it is above it and clearly starting to look bullish as with the indicators. So the beans are there. Let's continue looking. Next chart on the menu that you will see is the wheat chart. Now wheat, it's a daily bar for May. As you can see, the wheat has broken out of a very large apex and is beginning to look bullish. It's just bouncing off the top of the Omni average right now, but very close, traders. It's hitting it. So now you've seen the grains sector. Let's continue going forward here. Next chart I'm going to show you, copper. Copper, a pretty serious component of the CRB. Look at the run copper's had here recently. Nice run up, well above the average now. Copper looking bullish. Copper would be considered an industrial part or component of the CRB index. So that means that there's some sort of capacity utilization hopefully taking place, or at least some building starting to show its head here. Looking at the copper, let's look at more charts here, traders. Next one on the block for you is cotton. The cotton is considered another industrial, although it's not above the average. Look at how close it is to the average right here, traders. On its way up, looking like it wants to get above it. So we've had very few so far not above it. You've only had cotton, wheat, and natural gas out of the whole gamut. Let's look at some more here. Okay, traders, one of the next components that you will see here is the meats component of the CRB. Live cattle, as you were looking at here, daily bar is just about to kiss that average. Not above it yet, but in some sort of an upward channel and heading towards it. Now let's look at more. If I'm correct, the hogs are not there either, but the hogs are very close as well. Now you have another sector, the softs, including coffee, sugar, cocoa, and orange juice. Coffee flirted with the average, got below it, but look at it now above that average and looking pretty smart right here. I like that little formation that you're in. So coffee now above the Omni proprietary moving average. Let's continue going forward here. You have sugar. Look at the sugar. It got above the average, came down a little, and has been booming. Tests the average right here, and then takes off, traders. Look at that run. So far, so good. The soft sector is now beginning to get above the Omni average and run. You'll see when you see the next few charts. Look at the cocoa, traders. Cocoa made daily bar. Well above the average now. Tested it, got below it, and then took off above it again. So we have another one of the 19 commodities that make up the CRB above the Omni proprietary moving average. And that is what's key here, traders. Let's look forward. Orange juice. Although orange juice is not there, it is close, as you can see, and again is moving upward. Not as steep of an upward pattern as you'd like to see, but look how close it is now to the Omni proprietary. So we'll see if the juice wants to get involved. Traders, that would make a total of 5 only commodities that are not above the Omni proprietary average. All the rest of the commodities of the CRB are well above that average. Let's keep looking. Next chart on the block here, traders, you have gold because we got the metals sector now. The metals, look at the gold trading in a really nice parallel channel. Gold looking strong here. Above the average easily, came down and almost tested it just the other day, and then took off, and now it's got this little bit of a bull flag. You gotta love it, traders. So now the metals are starting to do it. Let's take a look at more metals. Next chart on the block, you're looking at platinum. Look at the platinum. This is the Omni proprietary all the way down here. Look at how far ahead of it the platinum is right now, and looking rather smart, as is the gold. Traders, there's more. Next chart on the block, you are looking at the silver. Look at the way the silver exploded here, came down just about, kissed the Omni average, and took off again just as gold did. So now the metals well above the average, the Omni proprietary. Traders, that CRB is poised to go much, much higher, as are these commodities. But it's going to get more interesting for you now, because not only have commodities gotten above that average, but many other markets that we trade as futures have gotten above the average that have nothing to do with the CRB. Let's take a look at those. Okay, traders, here is where things begin to get interesting, to say the least. You have the NASDAQ, one of the leaders of the indices markets, especially in the U.S. The NASDAQ, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this evening, 5 days above the Omni average. That almost never happens. The last time it tried, you simply got 3 days above the average and a turnaround break. This time, you're not only above the average, but look at this channel you're in, and it's looking smart. So go NASDAQ. I would love to become a bull. Like I said before, I am not happy being a bear. I trade what I see. I can't help that. If this continues, traders, this will give us a little bit of a run where possibly we could be buyers of dips for a while and see where it goes. Let's continue to look further now. Again, this is all about the Omni proprietary moving average. Let's look again. Okay, next chart for you here, traders, is the S&P. This is the S&P cash. Two things going on here. We are inside of a very large parallel channel. This is even bigger than the one I showed you in the last video, but we're close to taking it out, and we are kissing the Omni average. I mean, literally touching it right here, right now. If we can get above this, that is a clear signal that we will at least test the middle of the head and shoulders formation. And if we can get above that, baby, holy cow, let's rock and roll. But I will trade what I see, not what I hope for. For now, this is a market getting above the average with everything else, and that it clearly has to get past the test of the middle of the head and shoulders. If we can get past that, then the S&P is calling for a handsome rally. But let's look at more charts here because we're not done. Traders, next on the block, and now it really gets serious. The last time I did one of these fundamental shift videos, everything was the opposite. All the currencies were up here. The Omni average was up here. They all got below. The dollar index was down here. The average was down here, and it just had gotten above. Now we're looking at a completely different picture. Australian dollar, look at the way it exploded once it got above the Omni average. That's Australian dollar and the Omni proprietary moving average. Let's keep looking, traders. There's a theme here. All right, next, Canadian dollars, traders. The Canadian dollars are above what?
The Omni proprietary
moving average. Now look, Canadian dollars had a big run up, came down, tested it, and started to take off. But there is more. Next chart I want to show you is the British pound, traders. British pounds just got above the average on Monday trading and is starting to look smart here because it also took out a major resistance trend line. So British pounds starting to look good and once again above
the Omni proprietary moving average.
Yeah, baby, yeah. Now let's look at more. The Swiss franc, what is that one above?
The
Omni proprietary moving average. I'm telling you, there's a theme going on here. Look at this, traders, it just keeps going. Euro currency, look at the run when it got above the average and it's sitting here now. Euro currency, a little bit interesting because this is a huge head and shoulders. And once again, this can merely be just a simple test of the middle of the head. But the fact that so many of these currencies are above the Omni average right now, this may be a lot more than just a test of the head. Let's look at a few more charts here. All right, traders, I think you'll like what you're going to see over these next couple of charts because the Czech Corona, now we're going around the world, baby. The Czech Corona, looking at above the Omni average and looking strong. The Brazilian Real got above the average. The Chinese renminbi, I think it's the renminbi, got above the Omni average. The whole world is getting above it in their currencies. Look at this. Mexican peso. If the Mexicans can do it, anybody can do it, baby. Mexican peso above the average. Look at this. Dollar index below the average. I haven't been able to say that since August last year. Omni is now above the dollar index, and this does not look very good. Plus, there was a major double top put in a couple of weeks ago. Now, there's only been one currency that's been trading hand in hand with the US dollar, and that one happens to be Japanese yen. And look at it below the Omni average, came back for a test, failed, and dropped back down. Traders, all I could say is the Omni proprietary moving average is telling us that there's a possible fundamental shift taking place here, traders. So let's see what we get. So, traders, you seen those charts? I mean, wow, holy cow, how many of if those charts got above the average just now, the CRB got above the average, the dollar got below the average. I have not seen anything like that since the last fundamental shift, traders. How many of my fans out there that have been watching my videos for the past 2 years can remember me saying, oh no, it's a fundamental shift? You've seen two, maybe this is the third video in 2 years where we've had these big flip-flops. And I'll tell you what, once again, with the Omni flip-flopping the way it is and the average acting the way it is around all those commodities, the dollar and the yen below the average, all the other indices above it, my vote is that there is a fundamental shift taking place, so get ready. Now, what does that mean? That means that there is a very high possibility that I can take this off the board for a couple of weeks. Don't fall in love with the upside. There's only been one other time since this bear market began that I took. Don't fall in love with the upside off the board. In fact, all I did was take with the upside off the board. We left don't fall in love out there for each video. And for almost 3 weeks, we became buyers during the bear market. That went to an end. We went right back into being bearish. This could be one of those. I don't know yet, but boy, oh boy, I'm going to watch those charts. Traders, one of the beauties of being a day trader is exactly this. If I see it flip, I can flip with it. Even if I miss a day or it tags me for a day, I see what's coming next. I'm able to jump right in. It makes us flexible, and it makes us really good traders compared to a lot of funds that just can't simply move that quickly. So we are lucky to be day traders, and we are certainly lucky to have the Omni, baby. I'll tell you that much right now. Traders, make sure you do your own homework on that load of charts and see what you think. Hey, I wanted to mention something. The trading contest from last week, baby. Yeah, we got some winners.
Yeah.
J-Dog, Jason Newman, numero uno, baby. Number one in the contest. He turns a $10,000 account to $17,750. Next under him, we have G-Trader. Hey, George Stinson. Thank you, George. George turns $10,000 into $16,713. Then in third place, we have Brent. Brent, once again, very good. Brent turned $10,000 into $15,925. You go, Omniacs. All right, traders. Guys, you know you'll get your money. It'll hit your accounts, no problem. So make sure that you've been paid. Traders, if you'd like, sign up this week for next week's trading contest. Maybe you can be one of our winners. All right, traders. Woo-hoo. I hope this market does go up tonight. We have a green Omni posted on the board for the S&P. But I am here to say one more time. Up, down, red, green is very uncharacteristic of the Omni proprietary. It's very uncharacteristic of my Omni indicator. When it does that, it's going, Oscar, are you listening? And you better believe I listen up. So I hope you're listening too. All right, traders, don't trade alone. I tell you this in every video. If you would like to learn how to spot analysis like this, how to notice a fundamental shift coming, or just simply how to become a better trader overall mentally, you come on down to www.livewithoscar.com, grab yourselves a free membership, and jump on into the chat rooms where I can help you understand these markets a whole lot better than what you do right now. Traders, give me a call anytime, Darren, at 702-629-4755. Guys, am I forgetting anything?
I think you got it.
Covered. All right, then I'm out of here, baby. Be safe. Put your stops in first. Look for a buy of dips in the S&P. If you don't know where to get in, come on down to our site. We have trades already out there for you to show you where to get in and where we're looking to take profits if it comes our way. Okay, traders, thank you so much for paying attention to these videos. Make sure you come on down to the site and say to yourselves every morning, every afternoon, every evening. It'll help you keep your emotions out of trading. And you know what that is? Stops are in. Emotions are out. Futures trading is risky and can cause substantial financial loss. We do not claim or guarantee that you will profit from the information provided. That being said, I'm a 27-year seasoned trader on and off the trading floors. This is how I've made my living for many, many years.